What moves the meter? What do Social Security judges want when you present your case at a disability hearing? I'm Jonathan Ginsberg. I'm a Social Security disability attorney. I've been doing this for over 30 years. I represent clients in all 50 states because disability hearings are now done by telephone or video. And because of that, I've represented clients really in just about every state. So I've seen and appeared before judges all over the country. And I do so on a regular basis, sometimes 4 or 5 times a week. So I've got a pretty good sense of what really makes a difference to a judge. And what kind of prompted me to record this video is one of my colleagues from LinkedIn sent me an email, a gentleman named Darius, I believe, sent me an email, who's a rep, and he said, what do you know about this particular judge who happens to be in Atlanta? And I didn't know the judge. I've never been before this particular judge. He's fairly new. And so I said, I don't know, but I do keep a database, so if you find something out, let me know. So he emailed me back this morning and said, yeah, I got some responses from some other people, and here's what they said. And basically what this judge wants is, in an opening statement, that you want to really focus on only severe impairments and objective findings. If the person has mental health issues, then there needs to be extensive mental health treatment with medications, and that it's not simply enough to have your family doctor prescribe kind of a mild antidepressant. It needs to be much more extensive than that. And that medication management in general, at least for this judge, is not enough. So in other words, if your family doctor gives you various medications for pain or for depression or whatever the case may be, that's not enough for this judge. And it really occurred to me, he says, otherwise the judge is very reasonable, very pleasant, and very fair. And I realized when I'm writing this down, this is probably a pretty good rule of thumb just in general, that, I think that people sometimes get really caught up in, first of all, the idea of having multiple issues going on. I've had people email me, I've got 10 medical problems, they're all disabling. And I'm just going to tell you, judges aren't going to buy that. I mean, they generally are going to expect that you're going to have 1 or 2 things, maybe 3 things that are going to be pretty significant in your life that would prevent you from working or engaging in substantial gainful activity, which is, again, working enough to earn about $1,600, $1,620 a month in 2025. But, you want to really focus on the 2 or 3 most significant problems. You may have other things going on. You may have mild depression. You may have gout that flares up every 2 or 3 years. But I wouldn't really focus on those things. I would focus on the 2 or 3 things that are most significant. You have a herniated disc, you've got severe spinal stenosis, you've got congestive heart failure with a significantly reduced ejection fraction. Focus on those things. And I think that you want to present yourself in a way that you are here because you have to be here. You hate the idea of being disabled or pursuing disability, and if you can get better, you'll be back to work right away. But that you don't consider yourself, and this is the important part, you don't see yourself as a disabled person. You see yourself as a working person who temporarily is not able to work because of a medical problem that you're fighting like crazy to get better from. That's the way you want to approach it. And again, this judge, the shorthand is that the judge really likes objective evidence, meaning that it should be something that can be seen on an MRI, a CT, an ultrasound, a cardiac function test, a pulmonary function test, something that's objective, that there needs to be treatment ideally from a specialist. Family doctors, giving you some medicines is probably not going to be enough. If it's mental health, this judge and many judges are going to want to see extensive treatment. My indicia of severity would be things in the record like a suicide attempt or failed medication trials or inpatient hospitalizations. It's got to be fairly significant and fairly severe. I think most judges are kind of like that. I think they're looking for objective evidence, evidence of severity, and consistency between what the evidence shows and your complaints. An example I always give would be if you're complaining of back pain and your MRI shows a mild disc bulge with no nerve root compression, no spinal cord compression, but you're complaining of numbness up and down your leg and you can't feel your feet, not consistent. If you've got severe stenosis, you've got nerve impingement, you've got let's say a disc that is pressing directly on the nerve, and you're complaining of that numbness, that is consistent. So I think that, we make it all as attorneys, we sometimes make it very, very difficult for ourselves. It's pretty straightforward. I think for many judges, is it pass the smell test? Do they have the person have objective evidence? There's evidence of severity? Are there medications that are, powerful medications with significant side effects? If all that's there, you're mostly the way there. As long as your testimony is consistent, you come across as being credible, and you're over 50, you're probably going to win. If you're under 50, the further you are away from 50, the more medical evidence, the more comprehensive it needs to be. But that's pretty much it. So I think it's best not to overthink this. Don't go in with 15 medical conditions, 99% of the time. Don't over-exaggerate what's going on. Just realize this is what judges are looking at: objective evidence, evidence of severity. They're looking at the medications, they're looking at your age, and they're kind of looking at you saying, is this person credible? So what this judge wants, I think, is pretty applicable with most judges, and even the ones with lower than average approval rates. So I think that's the way you want to approach it, and just don't overthink it, and realize from the judge's perspective, they're under pressure to only approve people who are clearly disabled, that they're going to put the trust fund on the line for 5, 10, 15 years. So you've got to give them what they need to approve your case, and that, generally speaking, is what it's going to be: objective evidence, consistent testimony, treatment that's consistent with that, medications. And I think if you have all that, and especially if you're over 50, you've got a pretty good chance at winning. Visit me online at ssdanswers.com. I've got a Secrets to Winning Disability Survival Kit there. You can get my email. I don't download it. It comes by email. You can also ask for a case evaluation. I'll tell you what I think about your particular case. Join me on Wednesday nights, every Wednesday, 8:30 Eastern, here on my YouTube channel, my Facebook page. I have a live stream, and I answer questions. People ask me on the chat, live questions, and I answer them. I have guests. I have experts. It's actually a lot of fun, and I enjoy doing it. I invite you to join me there. And if you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up. That does help me as well. So for now, this is Jonathan Ginsberg, wishing you the best. Thanks a lot. Hi, this is Jonathan Ginsberg, and I hope you found this video helpful. If you'd like to know more about how to win your Social Security disability case, I'd like to invite you to download my Secrets to Getting Approved Early Survival Kit that I created just for people like you. Currently, I'm making the survival kit available at no cost, and I encourage you to grab your copy now. Some of the topics I cover include: how do I know if I have a case? Is it the right time for me to file my claim? 9 common mistakes that can doom your case. The 3 must-have arguments you use to win your case. And a topic that every disability claimant wants to know: how to avoid trick questions from the judge. If you or a loved one need to win Social Security disability benefits, you'll find the Survival Kit essential reading. Download your Survival Kit right now and at no cost. Just visit ssdanswers.com/survival and sign up. It's that easy. Please act now. And as always, I wish you the best.